We're talking about the Miami Hurricanes on the Ourlads Football Network, the Ourlads Football YouTube Channel. And if we're talking Miami Hurricanes football, that means we're talking to the publisher of Canesport.com, Mr. Gary Ferman. How's it going, Gary?
What's going on, Greg? Good seeing you again.
Yes, absolutely. And this time last year, we're talking about all the optimism and Mario Cristobal, and everything was actually looking pretty good at the start of the season as well. And then everything kind of caved in, and all of a sudden, all of the pessimistic fans or critics, what have you, just came out of the woodworks. And Gary, that's the one thing that I'm hearing a lot of, even from down there in South Florida, is this just not sure that they trust or believe that Mario Cristobal is going to take them over the hump. So what are you hearing?
I don't even want to think about the alternative down here, Greg. I'll tell you, I mean, it's been so long. It's been such a long ride. And even just in the 18 months or so that Mario's had the job, it's just been a whirlwind. They signed, at Canesport.com, we cover recruiting. They, as well as the team. And they signed 41 new players in the offseason this year. 41 new players. So
that's more than half the team, isn't it?
It is almost half the team. And, our staff has been working like crazy covering all this stuff. And we are just so happy that it's now time to play football. But, people are putting a lot of stakes on this game on Saturday at the Swamp. And really for both teams, Billy Napier probably has the hottest seat in America. He lost 5 straight games to end last season. Nobody's predicting him to be over 500 this year. They got probably the toughest schedule in the country. I mean, there is no question that this is a must-win situation for Billy Napier. Now, people are trying to put the same gauntlet, so to speak, on Mario Cristobal, and it's not the same. I mean, Mario Cristobal's job is not on the line this season, not even close. But everything that he has worked for over the last 18 months is on the line. When you look at the financial commitment, and it's massive, that the University of Miami has made to its football program, which was part of the whole move to bring Mario Cristobal here, invest in the program, get an NIL program started, and really do all the things necessary to compete today in big-time college football. But this is a leap for a university that's always done it on the cheap all through history, that won 5 national titles doing it on the cheap, and has a lot of people on campus saying, why do we have to spend all this money on athletics and football? That's on trial on Saturday. The millions of dollars that have been spent on NIL deals, money being put up by supporters who really, they don't even get a tax break when people donate to a collective, which is set up for NIL. They don't even get a tax break from that money. Okay? Yeah. They are literally, quite honestly, giving their money away.
Yeah.
The only return on investment that they get is winning.
Yeah.
They get access, they get to be up close, but let's be honest. What does getting up close mean if your team is not winning? If your team is not winning, it is misery to be up close, and that's not a return on investment. So, you've got that element, all the people that have made donations to the program, and all the support, and all the, Mario Cristobal works 18 hours a day, Greg, 365 days a year. This is a guy that recruits when he goes on vacation. Okay. He may jump in the pool with the kids for 5 minutes, but the other 55 minutes of that hour, he's laying in a lounge chair making recruiting calls and pretending to be on vacation. So, think about the number of hours that adds up to over 18 months.
Oh, yeah.
He has invested in building this football team. Well, this is the rollout, okay? This is the rollout of the real Mario Cristobal U, okay? And that's what's on at stake on Saturday. So really, these are 2 teams that are desperate for victory, that for different reasons have to have it. but only one is going to walk out of there with the prize.
Yeah, the good thing is for Miami, because I don't look. I do think Florida will win more than 4.5 games. I was just looking over the win totals. It's 4.5 Miami, Florida, 9 Miami, and I do understand how tough the schedule is. But I do believe that Florida will be better than people think. I don't think it's going to be some trash 2-win season. Napier's gone. What a disaster. That's just me. Just my guess. Because I think they have enough. I think they have talented players on offense. The defense is another question. But Miami, I actually have Miami. We have a new poll here. We just, for the first time, we put together a college football top 12 poll on the Ourlads staff. And I actually put Miami in my top 12 because I have Miami in the ACC championship game this year. And I'm putting my faith in the fact that I'm looking at this roster. And I look and see the great job that Cristobal has done, which is, of course, the thing that makes him such a great recruiter, and it's why he's making all the money. The major issue that a lot of fans have and some of the critics have is he's a great recruiter, but he's a terrible game day coach, and that's the problem. Is until maybe if he could get a really good assistant coach on offense and defense and let them be the smart ones. Maybe he can get over the hump because he can't do it on his own as an X's and O's guys. Do you buy into any of that? Because again, I'm buying into the fact that I think they're going to have a successful season.
I mean, look, people get labeled, and it's very hard for them to shake that label. And Mario Cristobal won 2 Pac-12 titles when he was at Oregon in the 4 years he was at Oregon. Okay. Won the league championship twice. Okay. He went to Ohio State, beat Ohio State on the road. Who does that? I mean,
yes.
So he has had success as a head football coach, has made some mistakes in select games that have led to people putting that label on him. And it's had a very significant impact on his image in college football. And I think he's felt that this offseason. He obviously had the horrible mistake against Georgia Tech last year where he didn't call for the knee, and they ended up losing the game on a series of fluky plays. But nevertheless, it was a loss, and it was the talk of college football. And it will take Mario 10 years of winning to shed, the residue of that single mistake. He's a very capable head coach. He's a CEO head coach. He lets his coordinators do their job. He'll have input during the week, may even have a little input during games. But for the most part, he lets his guys do what he's paying them to do. And he's got high-paid coordinators who he has done his part by recruiting a roster that's the best roster Miami's had in a very long time. People keep asking me compare, name a year when Miami had a roster better than this. I mean, these last 20 years have been so ridiculous.
Yes.
I can't go back and process all that and try to pick out a year in the last 20 years that Miami had a better roster or a roster comparable to the one that they're bringing into this season. I would have to do a lot of homework, and I just don't think that's important. But they have a really good roster, Greg. It doesn't have a ton of elite. When Ourlads is doing its draft projections, you're not going to see a lot of first-round draft picks on this Miami roster. Right now, I don't think there's one that's projected to be picked in the first round. But they have a lot of very good players, and they have a lot of depth. And they're light in a couple spots, like the secondary is a little bit light, but who in college football is stacked at every single position? I mean, I don't know that that's reality. They come to the stadium beginning Saturday with a lot of weapons and not a lot of excuses. They should be one of the better teams in college football this year.
Give me, you named, you talked about the players and whether they're first round draft picks or not. The fact is that some of these guys are going to have their best seasons. Some may not, but give me a couple of guys, one offense at least and one defense at least, that you believe could have a breakout year. And again, I'm talking about being a first round draft pick, just a really good year.
Let's start with Cam Ward, the quarterback. Okay. Now, this is a guy that is being hyped to the max. The ACC media named him the player of the year in the ACC in their preseason vote. Okay. This guy hasn't played it down in the ACC. And let's remember one thing about Cam Ward, and I love Cam Ward. I think he is a leader to the max. But do I think that this is just a slam dunk? Cam Ward throwing 400 yards a game, everything being on easy street, and there's not going to be some up and down moments throughout the year? I don't believe that at all, Greg. I mean, if he was a complete product as a quarterback, he would not be at the University of Miami right now. He would be in the National Football League. Okay, that was his goal. He wanted to go to the NFL. All right, so you got all this, I don't know if I wouldn't call it pressure, but all this attention, all this hype on the shoulders of Cam Ward coming into the season. And, you know, the thing that's getting ignored is Miami's got a pretty damn good running game. I mean, they've got an offensive line. That's Cristobal's baby, okay? They've got some studs up there, big guys. They are going to be one of the better O-lines in the country. And they got a running back by the name of Damian Martinez, who is one of the better backs in the country. A freshman by the name of Jordan Lyle, who is going to be I don't want to use the word star loosely. He's going to be a great player at Miami. They got Mark Fletcher coming back off injury. They got Jay Allen, who the Nebraska transfer from a couple of years ago, who's looked great in training camp. They got a stacked running back room with a head coach that loves to run the ball. It's not going to just be all about Cam Ward all the time, okay? But, you know, you can't have the conversation that you're asking me to have without mentioning Cam Ward. I mean, you know, if your name, who's the best player at Miami this year, you're going to say Cam Ward. I mean, you're going to make him number one because he needs to be. I mean, they need him to be, you know, the best player on the team. But there's other guys that have big years. You know,
give me a guy that's going to have a big year. You think that has not had a big year before?
On the offensive side of the ball, if they use him enough, Elijah Arroyo, the tight end. He's got NFL written all over him. He is going to be a very good pro. Probably will achieve more on the pro level where they'll use him more than he will in college. But if they feature him a little bit in the offense, he could have a huge season. Sam Brown coming over from Houston as a receiver. Been very impressed with him. He could have a bust out. Moving over to defense, I think that, you know, you got to talk about Akeem Mesidor. He got hurt last year and got sidetracked a little bit. This is a guy that's going to be a pro. He's a really good football player. He's a guy that could really bust out this year, in my opinion. If you're looking at, you know, since this is Ourlads, Tyler Barron is another one. He's here to improve his draft stock. Some people think that if he has a big year, he could possibly slide into the first round of the draft in April. Came from Tennessee, is a really solid defensive end, and he's somebody for your audience to watch a little bit this year as well. And then last guy I'll mention is Mish Powell, the safety. You know, he played in the national championship game last year, has a lot of experience, and I think a lot of eyeballs are going to be on him and his performance at safety.
Okay, and who was the edge rusher you just talked about?
The what?
The edge rusher you just talked about?
Tyler Barron. You'll see him on there, number 9.
There he is. Okay.
Yeah, Ourlads has him as a second teamer. There will be extensive rotation. Your starting ends will probably be Bain and Mesidor, quite honestly. Those are probably your two best guys with Barron right there. Alston will be more of a probably pass rush specialist. Okay. But hey, they don't release depth charts anymore at Miami, Greg. So whoever put this one together probably did a pretty decent job in looking at it. I mean, there's a few things on there I would change. Yeah, absolutely, for sure. I mean, actually more than a few. But you know, if you're not really in tune to Miami right now and the way this team is coming together, you know, there's no way that you would know that, for example, Isaiah Taylor is not going to really play very much at free safety.
Okay. No, I'm already writing here my email request to you to let me know what changes we need to make on the depth chart, because we're trying to be as perfect as we can here. And it is hard, especially in college, as you know. And yeah, we do a really good job, but sometimes, because the depth charts aren't released, and like you said, there's 40 new players on the roster, it is kind of hard to determine exactly where the depth chart should look like. So any help we can get.
I'll be sending you a few changes.
Absolutely. We would definitely appreciate that. All right. So then let's talk about the matchup before I let you go. We talked a little bit about just we know they're playing, but what do you think about this matchup? What is the one thing that you think is going to be the biggest concern for Miami in this game on Saturday afternoon?
They got to start well. I mean, they're the better football team. I don't expect them to do too many crazy things early in the game. I think they'll go up there feeling like they're going to have a physical edge in this game at the line of scrimmage, and I think they're going to want to exploit that. Without
Okay.
exposing themselves on the road in a hostile venue to turnovers,
Yep.
interceptions, things like that. That can make this a close game going into the fourth quarter. I think that they'll go in there and they'll try to be solid and simple. I really do. I don't expect to see Cam Ward throwing it all over Florida Field. I just don't it doesn't make sense to me that would be the strategy coming out of the gate in this situation. I think they'll be prepared, obviously, to mix it up. They'll try to, be 50-50, probably run pass balance. But to me, the key to this game is Miami getting off to a good start, using its running game to establish dominance at the line of scrimmage.
And you mentioned Brown and a very talented receiving core. We know about Restrepo and, of course, George. Who do you think Brown will end up as the most impactful receiver this season, or will it be Restrepo again?
Restrepo got a lot of receptions last year because of his connection with Tyler Van Dyke. He's a very reliable guy. There's no question about it. It's going to be interesting to see if that gets impacted with a new quarterback. In the parts of practice we were able to watch, I mean, I think their connections were pretty good. You didn't really see much of a difference. Restrepo is absolutely a go-to guy when you need to play. But, Jacoby George, they have high hopes for. We'll see if he can be counted on over a 12-game season. Sam Brown is here for the showcase. Got great ability. He's going to command a lot of touches. So, guys are going to have to be patient at that position. I don't think it's going to be a situation where the same guy has, 6-7 catches every single week. I mean, I think there's going to be some games where certain guys have the proper matchup and other guys in other games have an advantageous matchup. And the important thing is that they all stay together. There's a lot of guys on this team that are looking. I use the word stage. It really is a stage. They're looking to showcase themselves for the National Football League, and they're going to have to be patient and understand that winning breeds that in a large way as well. And all they got to do is look at Michigan, where after that season last year, I think they had 14 guys drafted, something like that.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, like 2/3 of their starting lineup got drafted. So I mean, those will be the keys, I think, for Miami.
Did you talk to anybody yet over in Florida regarding what they're concerned about, or what you think could be, and what they're excited about themselves this season?
I mean, I think they're concerned about their health at running back. They've traditionally liked to run the ball since Billy Napier's been there, and they have some question marks on the O-line, and they had a transfer at running back that didn't help the situation, and then their number one back got hurt early in training camp and may or may not be able to play. We don't really know at this point.
Okay.
So they're going to have to throw the ball probably a little bit more than they'd like to on offense with Graham Mertz, and he's a solid, if not spectacular, quarterback. He completes an enormous number of his percentages are very good.
Yeah.
And he will try to ball control you and dink and dunk you to death. Now they've made a big effort in training camp up in Gainesville to try to get more explosive plays in the offense. The short yardage passing game was only having a effect to a certain degree.
Yeah.
And when you lose 5 straight games to end the year with your quarterback still completing 70% of the passes, that'll put you back to the drawing board a little bit, I would think. So they have been trying to get the downfield passing game a little bit more into their offense. Whether they can be successful, because they're supposed to be in doing that, going into the weakness of the Miami team in its secondary, going to be a very interesting matchup. The Gator passing game against the Miami defensive backfield, and see if Miami has gotten good enough there hold up.
Yeah, losing 3 key members of that backfield, and Montrell Johnson, he's the top dog you're talking about, and they got a spectacular sophomore, Eugene Wilson, that is definitely the one to watch for Florida. I know you got to run, so just quickly, Miami's a 2.5-point favorite. They're 40-1 to win the national championship, and their win total is 9.5. So I got to ask you, do you think they're going over 9.5?
I think that's the proper bar. I really do. And if I had to run to the window right now, I would take the over and project them to win 10 this year. But it starts if they did, that is including a victory Saturday at Florida.
Oh yeah.
It's going to be very interesting. I think that the culture is really in a decent spot. I think this is a team that's physically ready. They've worked extremely hard, and now they got a couple pieces that sort of take them to another level. I mean, realistically, they were an 8-9 win team last year. I mean, really. I mean,
sure.
If you don't blow Georgia Tech, that's an easy W to add to the ledger. And a couple other close games where they just didn't have the players to get them over the hump. I think they have the players this year. I think the schedule sets up right. If I were running to the window, I would take the over on that. But this is a big key to that on Saturday.
Absolutely. And last, who do you think they're going to play in the ACC championship game?
Wow.
I have North Carolina State. Just so you know, I have North Carolina State in the championship game against Miami.
I haven't studied every schedule, to be honest with you, but I will tell you that Virginia Tech is a sleeper team in this mix.
Mm-hmm.
They have a lot coming back, and they are, they feel like they're at a point where they can turn the page. I don't believe it'll be Florida State. I don't see that team being good enough to run the table from here.
Yep.
I really don't. Agree. I don't think it'll be Clemson. A lot of people want to throw Clemson in there and believe that they're the old Clemson. I don't believe they are the old Clemson. I don't think it'll be Clemson. I think it'll be one of those teams like a Virginia Tech, NC State, North Carolina, maybe even Georgia Tech. Who knows?
Georgia Tech.
Yes. After winning that game the other day, maybe they go on to a great season. And
yep.
Like I said, I haven't studied all the schedules in the ACC to really be totally rock solid on this. But I don't think it'll be Clemson. I don't think it'll be Florida State.
Gary, I look forward to talking.
Louisville's another team. If they can get past Miami, they play Miami at home. They're another team to watch because they don't have a very tough schedule, I don't believe.
Did you say Louisville?
Louisville's another one I would watch. Yep.
Okay. Yeah, that's actually, I believe, Mark, who does Mark Lawrence, who does the college football show with me. He has Louisville in the ACC championship game himself. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to talking to you again, of course, later on this season. Canesport.com. You also have a podcast on YouTube, streaming services. How can they check you out?
Yep, we have a Canesport YouTube channel that people can check out. Absolutely. And we always have specials going at canesport.com. If you're interested in Miami or a Miami fan or closet Miami fan or a partial Miami fan, head on over to our website, canesport.com. And we would love to have you as part of our fan community.
Well, we'd love to have you back as usual, Gary. Appreciate your time. Enjoy the game on Saturday and look forward to a fun season covering the team.
Anytime, Greg. Thank you.
You got it.